to supervise its power, you can connect this zone type to that auxiliary power supply. Temperature zone. We have a temperature probe that can be remoted away from the control or outside, and it ties back into this type of zone that's defined here. An analog zone. This is a zone that is feeding back analog voltage levels, and primarily used by the rules engine, or writing rules into the system. But we'll go back here. I'll just pick up 01, and that'll send us back here to the burglar entry 1 and exit 1, and back up, and now we'll go to the next zone definition selection here. This is the hardware wiring part, or how the zone is wired up. A value of 0 is a end of line supervised or an RF or wireless zone. And we'll move over here and we'll go up its list. A 1 is a normally closed zone type. A 2 is a normally open zone type. And a 3 is a supervisory and short. What that is, it's a day zone that if someone shorts the zone input, then you'll get a day trouble or a beeping of the keypad. But it acts as a normal burglar alarm zone when it's armed. The next option here is supervisory and open. In other words, when the zone opens, you'll get a day zone or a beeping on the keypad, but yet it operates as a normal burglar alarm zone when it's armed. And that'll wrap us back around. The end line resistor on the system that you hook to the zones is a 2200 ohm or a 2.2 thousand ohm resistor that will be placed at the end of the supervised loop. Now we'll back the cursor back over here by hitting the right arrow or the Alt key, either one, and we'll move up to the next option. This is the area that the zone operates in. In this case, it's area 1. We can move over and go up and down the various areas in the system. It can go up to area 8. And we'll move back over, go to the next selection. Silent alarm. If this zone is selected as silent alarm, then no audible alarms will be activated. It will be a silent alarm. This is done by zone. Go up to the next option. This is a dialer delay. You can pick it yes or no, and when this zone triggers, if it's yes, then there will be a delay before the dialer triggers by this zone, and this delay time is set later on under the communicator section. And next option is to enable listen-in by zone. It's a yes/no answer. If it's yes, then listening will be triggered when the communicator communicates to the central station, and it will activate a listen-in session. Next option is zone bypassable. If it's selected as yes, then this zone may be bypassed with the bypass and the zone number, then pressing bypass again. The next selection is force armable. What this means by this zone, if it is violated when you arm or wanting to arm the system, you can enter your code, for instance 3456, and then it will show up that it is ready with force. So you can enter the code a second time and the system will arm even though the zone is still open. This would be a good use for overhead garage doors where the garage door may be open and you want to arm your system. So you put in the code twice, the system will arm, and when you get in your car and back out of the garage and close the garage door will be put back into the system and operate that way. Okay, the next option is what we call swing or shutdown. If a zone violates twice during an arming cycle, it will be shut down and will not be allowed to violate again and cause another alarm. and if that is answered to a yes here. The next option is periodic trip. What this is, for instance, in a factory environment where you have items being moved around, items could be placed in front of a motion detector. So what we require here, that motion detector be tripped during the arming cycle, or excuse me, during the disarming cycle. And if it is not tripped during the disarming cycle, it will become violated. So someone will have to go through the building and trip the motion detector to put it back into the system and make the loop not violated. So this will be answered yes if you'd like to assign this zone to a periodic require periodic trip zone. The next option here is fast loop response. There are two settings that you can set up in the system. One, fast loop response, and the other is a slow loop response. The default in the fast loop response is 40 milliseconds. So if you answer yes to this, then this zone input will respond in 40 milliseconds. The other default is 200 milliseconds. So if you leave it no, then this zone will be assigned to the slow loop response. And but those two values may be adjusted, and they are system-wide adjustments for the fast and slow response. The next option is enable chime for this zone. If you answer yes, then whenever this zone triggers, it can turn on the chime from the keypad if the chime button has been turned on the keypad. The next option is put this zone in a CrossZonePool. Now what this means is that for instance, two motion detectors are in a room, and you're verifying that when one motion detector picks up a trigger, that the alarm will not sound until the second motion detector picks up a trigger. It's sort of like anding two zones together, so that when one zone starts, and it has about 30 seconds before the second zone must also be violated to set off the alarm. Now, numerous zones can be added to this CrossZonePool, so that when any two of the zones are triggered within this time period, the alarm will be triggered. The next option is the name, and this program's like the other names. We, in this case, press the back arrow, which will move the cursor down under the first character, and then we type in the name from the keypad, moving over with the right arrow key. When we're finished, we hit the elk button that jumps out of the name setting. Go to the next option, which wraps us back around to the very beginning. Now hit the elk key, which goes back to the selection screen. Here again we can go to whichever zone we like. We can go up to zone 208. That's the maximum number of zones on the system. And when we get finished programming all the zones up, we can just back up to the main menu here. Now if we're finished programming on the system, we can continue to back up by pressing the elk key, or the easy way to get out of all programming is to hit the star key. That'll take us all the way back up to the ready to arm. Now if we ever change a zone, as you just heard, the M1 will automatically start the program over again, and it'll just as if you had powered up the M1. This allows it to load in all the settings that we've just programmed. So this completes the menu 4 keypad definitions and menu 5 zone definitions.